Hello, and welcome to another episode of Scavenger Life. This is episode number 333 at scavengerlife.com.
We are in our home, which is slightly cold. It's a kind of beginning a cold fall,
rainy
afternoon.
Yeah.
It's kind of a winter's going to be creeping up soon, and it's one of those days where we could probably get away with not having a fire, but I was like, let's just start one.
Well, it's so funny because you always do this where you're like, do you think we need a fire? And I'm like, no, not really. And then I turn around and you're starting one anyway.
Oh, I just love it so much. So maybe you can hear it in the background. But
yeah,
there is nothing like a fire, you know.
It's cozy.
Yep, wood heat.
Wood heat.
Like they say around here. There ain't nothing like wood heat. So last week we talked about scavenging confessions, extreme scavenging confessions.
Yeah.
Basically, we're just telling some stories about things we are willing to scavenge. A lot of it has to do with eating or hygiene, I guess, with your road burger and using used chapsticks.
Right, but other people...
Yeah, so it was interesting hearing
stories.
other people sending in their things. Like one was roadkill, like... people picking up roadkill. Now,
I will say this. Certain people were like, you can't just, like, see roadkill and be like, I don't know how long that's been dead. It was like somebody said, oh, I hit a bird, like a big bird that you would go hunting for, like a duck, with my RV. And I was like, I'm taking that home to eat, you know, that kind of roadkill.
I'm sure people can argue about it. I don't know how that works, but hey, it's meat. People were talking about picking up appliances, you know, on the side of the road and fixing and selling those. One guy is interesting. He says, you know, when you're especially outside of like a corner store, like a
like a 7-Eleven type
Circle
deal.
K.
Circle K.
Stop and go.
A Wawa. Cumberland Farms. Let's name them all.
Sheets.
Put
in your regional corner store.
Is there one in Texas when you were growing up that I wouldn't have heard of? Circle K, but I've heard of Circle K through Bill and Ted.
And there were Circle Ks in Norway, which is really weird.
Yes.
Anyway, he says, you know, when you're at those places, the big thing is like a lottery ticket. And people buy a lottery tickets and they scratch them off and they throw them away. He says that he picks those up off the ground.
Because he finds winners.
And they have like a barcode and he can scan them.
It's a QR code, yeah.
And he said that he has found some winning tickets.
And you know, 10, 15 bucks. But still, you're like... That adds up. So why would someone throw away a winner?
I think that's kind of because haven't you seen those people? Like they will buy $50 worth of tickets, like a pack of cigarettes and like $50 worth of tickets.
So you think they're missing? They're just like I
guess so. I don't know, but that's kind of a cool way to play the lottery without actually having to spend.
You don't
money.
have to spend the money.
I can remember when I was a kid, I was obsessed with checking phone booths to see if there was a
change
quarter
left over.
And every so often I'd find a quarter, and it was like the most awesome thing.
There's a fraction of our audience who are like, what's a payphone?
Yeah.
Speaking of Bill and Ted's.
People know what they are.
No, I know.
I can remember, too, I would find money on the ground every so often, and I can't remember the last time I found money on the ground, you know, and I just wonder if that's just because so few people have
actual coins and
cash or, you know.
Well, we bought a couch on Craigslist. We can talk about that later. Definitely a scavenger find for one of our rentals, and I was cleaning it out, and I found money in the couch cushions.
And you didn't tell me.
It was a nickel. It was a one single nickel. But I did find it.
Someone else says that he sells, I don't know what you call it, a weird cash, like weird money, where he goes to, like, you know, a bank, says, you know, I'd like $500 in $1 bills, I guess, and then he goes to each one and he looks for weirdness to it, like
the special dollars,
print, I guess. I don't know.
He must know which ones to look like. I've sold
serial numbers or something.
I've sold dollar bills that are silver certificates. Right. And they have like a star on them. And, you know, there's certain things to look for.
Well, he just says that, you know, he's got these tellers who know him and they're cool with it. So, you know, he takes out $500 and maybe he'll find one. He'll deposit that $5.
He wants it back.
Get another $500.
He's like, can I have a different set of bills?
And I guess there are people out there that just, I don't know. I guess that's like
they collect it, right?
I don't know.
It's weird.
Just everyone has those weird collection things, and I'm just like, what's the
look? Any collection,
collect them all.
Any collection, you're like,
yeah.
I mean, is there anything do you collect anything? No,
I mean,
neither do I.
I think we know each other pretty well.
Well, if I start collecting things, if I'm like, oh, this thing's cool, eventually I'm like, I'm just going to sell those.
Yeah.
Like, what am I doing with this?
But anyway, it's cool. So that's, another way of kind of weird, extreme scavenging. So, and then we were talking about dumpsters, because a lot of it ends up in, like, going through the trash. Mm-hmm. And I think a lot of us are definitely into getting things off the side of the road, or if you're walking down a sidewalk, someone will specifically put something out, like lying on top of the trash.
Like, take this so it doesn't get dirty in the trash.
I mean, some people even put a note on it, but, if it's just lying on top, it's really easy to grab. But the big question is about either opening up bags,
right,
or going behind stores and going into dumpsters. And someone was like, is that legal? Is it not legal? And
I know, it's kind of
it's kind of a gray area. I mean, number one, if you're on private property, it's more illegal to trespass.
Yeah.
But at the,
But look, I wouldn't honestly say anymore, because every city, every town, every county is different.
I think dumpster diving goes to the bold, I don't know if it's illegal, I don't know, but it goes to the bold, and it's about just...
that's hardcore.
And that's why we love that blog.
Garbage finds.
Things I find in the garbage with
And
Martin.
He sells it and makes a living.
Up in
Montreal.
Garbagefinds.com. It's my favorite scavenger blog.
Ever.
He is so hardcore.
Yeah.
He's been doing it for so long. He's consistent with how he posts. He's not trying to make $1 million. It's interesting. He started when he was young. I mean, he's still a young guy, but he's been doing it for years now, I think. I
want to say more than that, but
it's interesting to hear him get a little bit older, and he was like a kid living with a bunch of other kids, and now he's like, I don't know if he has his own apartment now, but he's definitely moved up where it's more space. And he's thinking about his business, and he only finds stuff in the garbage.
Yep, for free.
Going through people's bags, he's got some stories of like getting tickets from cops and like people yelling at him, because that is kind of a fine line. Like, I don't know how I'd feel if we put trash out in front of our house and I saw some guy like going through the trash.
Well, I mean, you can't talk about it like it's really us. Because I'd be like, go for it. You want to take stuff out of my trash?
You think? Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, we're scavengers. I'm like, totally, here. I'll open it up for you.
Okay, good.
But, well, look, it's just different. Everybody's different. And also, I feel like it's really different in the cities because, there's so many fancy neighborhoods in cities, and there's different types of people and different things happening to different people. Because actually somebody had a scavenger story of getting a bunch of like sealed Starbucks coffee.
Yeah, the story wasn't very clear, but it sounded like it was a house that the people it's moving out, and I guess the people had worked at Starbucks and somehow had accumulated all these sealed bags of coffee.
Like a ton. She said like a year or so.
And she says that she only got, she thinks, a small portion of what they had because a neighbor was yelling at her, and I was like, man, I would not care.
Oh,
I'd be
no,
like,
Jay would be like, whatever. No, it's in the garbage, But the story was that someone might have been evicted or something like that. So she felt bad, like, oh, this is like the stuff they couldn't take, and then the neighbor got mad, and so there's different things that can happen, when you're trying to just like save stuff from the landfill.
Like we're going to it's New York around Christmas time.
Yeah.
Staying at a friend's house who's going out of town, and
we love looking in the trash.
And one of the excitements is we love just to walk around in the evening time. We even go on the it's Manhattan, their like garbage website where they show
see which streets have garbage.
Garbage pickup,
night.
And we go walk that neighborhood in the evening time, and people put out their trash. And again, we don't go in the bags.
We don't go in the bags.
We just look at the stuff people put on top.
We found amazing things.
The one time I just started going through bags, I told Itchy this. You
got in a fight with a homeless guy.
Yeah, and I felt kind of bad about that. But
Well, you didn't get in a fight. You were just kind of like, he was getting territorial, and you were like, this is definitely his territory.
He felt that was his garbage. And I'm like, trust me, what I'm getting is not what you're going to get.
We're getting two different things.
The weird vintage stuff, and you're getting, aluminum cans and all that stuff. So, funny days. Okay, a couple of random things before we get into our eBay life from this week.
Yes, this is interesting.
We had a guy, he's a scavenger, come on a forum.
Yes.
At scavengerlife.com. And Byron is his name, from North Carolina. And he's young guy,
a web CSS person.
And he was like, your forum kind of sucks,
Look, let me specify. He was like, the forum, which we already knew, does not work on the phone.
Right.
And I was like, that is like so much work for me to relearn CSS for the phone.
Yeah. So anyway, he was like, hey, let me help you. So we talked to him on the phone. We shared a list of stuff that could happen. And he's been slowly working on it. If you go on the phone now,
look at the forum,
it actually works.
You can read it.
It's before the forum was usable on the mobile app. So, and a couple of funky things popped up that I'm sure people had seen, but he's been kind of fixing them. So we're very grateful.
And we're excited.
Yeah. The other thing is, you can sign up for healthcare at healthcare.gov from now. And it's November 1st to December 15th. It's a really short window.
Yes.
It's this year for multiple political reasons. But the reality is, if you're independent,
yes,
and if you need health care, don't listen to what anyone says. Just see what happens. Go to healthcare.gov.
Don't listen to what anyone says.
Well, just people are like, oh, I heard it was really bad.
Yeah,
okay.
It's like
it could be bad. I don't know. It's not bad to us, but go to healthcare.gov. Put in your info, and again, it's like shopping for anything, and you'll just get prices and just see what you think, and that's all. And the cool thing is, still in existence, if you have a pre-existing condition, they have to give you...
Yep.
So they don't even ask you about any of that stuff. So if you have brain cancer right now, they won't even ask you that, and you can get health care, and then you can get help with that, and it doesn't cost you any extra. So that's why it's good. People are always emailing us, like, I'm afraid to go independent because, I depend on my benefits at work. Well, you can actually buy your own health care.
And that is what we do.
That's it. Okay, eBay. This week.
Yes.
It was a slowish week for us.
It was weird. And
mainly, it wasn't really the volume of sales. We had quite a few sales. They were all just kind of average, like low to average sales. And, average, it's for us is $30. Like our average sale, this week was $32.52.
Yep.
So it was slow because we didn't have any of those big sales that really kind of boost our income.
Right.
And I got to remember, we need to find and list those expensive items if we want them
big sales
to sell.
And we did.
Yeah.
We did. We listed some furniture.
And that's something, too, we always tell it's new people is that, do not be afraid to put high prices on something that demands a high price.
Right. And it's tough. And I think sometimes all of us, including me, tend to price things low. And then sometimes I'm just like, nope, I'm pricing this really high because it's worth it. I think.
And often that means that we have to wait for the right buyer, though. So, I remember when we started selling rugs, like antique or vintage wool rugs, and people were like, you're crazy, selling these ratty old rugs with tears in them for $400. And now it seems like every other week I see someone come on the forum say, I just sold this rug for $500.
Yeah, I can't believe it had a hole in it. And you're like, yep.
Because
totally.
It's a look.
Yep.
You go to IKEA or all those stores and they even have...
new rugs that look like that.
Yeah.
So
people like the old ones.
Yeah.
We had a day this week it hadn't happened in a long time, of just all these painful returns. Specifically, we had 3 come on the same day where we had to refund people $100 or more each. So it was like almost $400 we had to give back, which was fine. People just changed their mind and they're allowed to do that. But, as a small business, that is really painful.
It was. Trust me. I was on the phone with eBay twice that day.
Yeah.
Just trying to figure out how to make it happen.
Yeah, well, I mean, there were a couple who were trying to say we had done something wrong.
Exactly.
But we called eBay and they were very nice about...
They helped me out.
Understanding that, we totally give people the its return, but if people are changing their mind just because they changed their mind, we should not be responsible for the cost to ship
and stuff. Yeah.
It's interesting too. We've been having this thing where we will have people who will send us a message through eBay, and they want to sell us an item that we have on our own store for the same exact price that we have it for. And normally it's 2 things. It's a really expensive item, and they have no feedback. It's like
they have no experience.
It's like they just created the account to send us a message, and maybe other people. So, we sold a desk for $1,800.
It was a Danish modern desk. It was my desk.
And someone sent us a message like, I had the same desk. Would you like to buy it from me for basically the price we sold it for? And I just...
You're like, that literally, how does that make any sense?
I mean, in some cases, I should just ignore it, but I did ask them that. I was like, why would I buy something from you that I sold it for at the same price?
The other thing, too, is that I don't understand why people don't realize, I have so many items in my store, or even if you only have a few items, you're like, I'm doing this to make money. I'm not just doing this for fun and for no money.
I mean, the person didn't write back. I guess hopefully it made sense to them, but we've had other people do that too with old military equipment.
And they're like, well, do you want to buy all this stuff that I have? And
I will write back and say, I'll give you $5. And then I don't hear back from them,
or I'll just say no or ignore them. But that happens a lot actually.
But it's strange. So we used to, a couple of years ago, sell ball caps. Like dude hats.
Like trucker hats.
Trucker hats. Yeah. They're so easy to find, so cheap, and we would, buy them for a quarter. And we could sell them for $25 plus on a regular basis. And now it just seems that the market is so it's saturated. Because, other people have found out how easy it is, and, I think there are sellers now that they just sell hats. And, one of these people came on the its forum, and she says that she goes to the it's Goodwill bins and buys them by the pound.
Right.
Although she says she's been having trouble finding them in bulk, it's recently. But she sells them for $14.99.
Free shipping!
Plus free shipping, so... Basically, after everything, you're probably making under $10 an item.
Right.
And it's just and I only bring that up. I mean, I think competition's good, and this just happens. It's just a good example of how the market changes on us, which is why we like selling anything and everything, I'd be so worried if I was someone that just sold one kind of thing, because if everyone starts coming in on that, then your business model is destroyed.
I mean, I've seen other sellers talk about that with certain, not only hats, but
people are like, I used to make a lot of money selling, vintage,
just shoes,
selling vintage computer equipment or something, arcade game stuff, and now suddenly everyone is selling old games, or shoes, or all these other things. And so and the thing is, we can't get mad about it. I was checking our store, and we have 250 hats that are in our store.
We do,
and we probably sell 2 a month now.
I don't think it's 2 a month. I think it's more than that. But
I think it's more than that.
Yeah, because I have to pull them and ship them. So it's
and we still sell ours. I guess we still have a pretty good eye. Thank you. That we still sell them for $20 or more. It's just this one woman says she sells 70 hats. And there was a guy on the forum, I haven't seen him in a bit, out in California.
70 hats a month?
A month.
Yeah.
This other guy, he sells like 70% of his store is hats, and it just seems like it's incredible, like 40 hats a week or something. And it's just in this incredible amount of hats, which I guess if you're making $10, if you could sell a 40 a week, that's $400. It's not bad, you know.
Yeah.
Times 4, like you're making $1,600 a month just on hats. But yeah, it's just one of those things.
Yeah, I mean, it just, that's why for us, you know, there have been things like that where we're like, oh, there's all these, you know, with military, certain military stuff where we're like, there's so many other people selling this now because everyone bought it.
Well, that's why the thing I love to hear is I would never ship that. I'm like, tell me what that is. I want to know.
I'll do it.
Like, let's do it. You know,
Yeah.
I want the stuff that other people are afraid of because then that means that there are fewer people who are trying to do it.
Exactly.
Okay, I talked about and this was my thing because Ryan is not interested in doing auctions, eBay auctions.
You'll see why.
And I was like, there are some things we're moving our inventory. We have a new building being built, hopefully in the next couple weeks. So we're like getting our inventory kind of prepared to move in there. And I was trying to get rid of some stuff.
Some large.
Just big, bulky items that we've had for a while So I said, well, let's just try auctions. We have nothing to lose. So we did 15 auctions
approximately
across our 2 stores, and 6 of them sold.
Right.
All sold. The ones that did sell sold at opening bid.
Yeah.
We didn't have a single one where there were multiple bidders. It's most of the bids happen at the last moment.
They had a
people
snipe on 'em.
sniping. Now, it is true. None of these were sought after items. You know, they weren't like.
I mean, they were like long tail, weird.
Yeah. If they were sought after, obviously the auctions would do it better. But then if they were sought after items, we could easily sell them at buy it now. So it's that kind of thing like, and again, this just goes to my thing where I'm like, people are like, well, if your store's slow, try auctions. And I'm like, well, but if your store's slow, it's because no one really wants that stuff. And just because you put them in auction doesn't really do anything. So anyway, it was good though. I mean, the 6 things we sold, I was happy to
essentially, those things sold because we lowered the price. That's what it is. It was opening bid. It was for less than I was asking. Let's take, for example, this big dairy cream separator thing. Yeah. Thing's huge.
Yep.
I have to use the biggest box I have to ship it, right? But it's because I took most of the price off to start the auction, and you're like, yeah, it sold for $40.
Yep.
Maybe that's the price I should have just brought it down to.
I wanted over 100. It's like it was a primitive.
Well, but what was cool about it is it's really like a beautiful cobalt blue enamel piece, that you're like, this is a gorgeous, cool thing I bought for $1.
Yeah.
But does anybody want it?
I mean, like we know of a store where they buy estates. And they buy estates and they sell on eBay, And I think there's a bunch of these kind of people out there. They buy a bunch of stuff and then they have helpers who put it stuff on eBay.
Yeah.
And they do almost exclusively auctions because they're just trying to move stuff. They sell a lot of stuff. They sell like 500-800 items a month. But they sell almost everything at opening bid, and they start their prices low. And that's one way to do it where...
it's volume.
It's volume. I don't know. I still, we'll do the math on it, trying to be like, okay, how much are they paying for rent for a big space and their workers and, all the time it takes to like get the estate and list it. And I'm just like, are they really making that much money after all the things versus just putting like good, strong prices on it and waiting for the right person? I don't know.
We talk about it all the time.
Yeah.
Or... is it the same?
Yeah.
And it's just different methods.
It's one of those things where I really wanted those auctions to work. And it just, again, I do it like once a year. And then I'm like, nope, this is so boring. You
got to wait a week or so.
It doesn't do anything, And thank God it's this time. We almost had it. Someone almost didn't pay. It seems like that almost always happens when you do a bunch of auctions where someone bought it and then they decide I don't really want to, like, the shipping's too much. I don't want to do it.
Yes, that I forgot that happened. Yeah. And I had to these were two very large items, delicate items going to Taiwan. And the guy was like, I don't really want to pay that much for shipping. And I was like, are you joking right now? These things are 20 inches tall, both, two of them, going across the world. And that's when he paid. So that was good. But still, It's like one of those things where you're like, really?
But anyway, so that's, we do experiments from time to time because it's best just to learn from experience. Someone said something on the forum that would be amazing if it was true, but we don't know if it's true.
Yes. So someone was saying that you cannot leave a neutral or a negative feedback for a power seller. Is power seller still a thing? Or top rated seller, I guess it's called now, for 7 days.
Well, so the way they phrased it is they bought an item.
Right.
And they went to go give a seller feedback, and it gave them that its message. eBay told them you can't leave a neutral or a negative feedback
for 7 days.
So it was like a cooling down period.
Right.
So that way someone couldn't just buy something from you, pay for it, and give you feedback immediately.
Like,
angry.
Right.
And so that way you have to, I guess, have some time to cool down. Or I guess the hope is it would give you as a buyer, because it should be so frustrated, hopefully time or the inclination to contact the person that sold
and
you the item.
And figure out the problem.
And say that you're unhappy and give a seller time to fix the problem.
Yeah.
So then hopefully after 7 days.
Yeah.
Now, that would be cool if that works. As with all of these things, I always ask people, well, where does it say it on the eBay site? Because normally when they do these kind of things, somewhere it says it in
There's
their
documentation somewhere.
Help section or like a new feature.
And no one can find it.
Because until I can actually see it from eBay's point of view, it's really just, people.
Now, I have noticed, because we buy a bunch of stuff for our rentals and whatever on eBay all the time, there have been times where I've had issues with sellers where, they'll cancel on me and won't tell me for, a week and a half. Just stuff like that where you're like, I'm going to leave a neutral. And when you go to leave a neutral, they say, are you sure? They don't just let you do it. They're like, have you worked it out with the blah, blah, blah? But I've never had it been where they're like, you have to wait. So...
Has that been recently? Because
I can't remember because I rarely.
So how about it's an experiment. The next time you buy something, and you pay for it, try and leave feedback.
Right away.
Act like you're going to do a neutral feedback and see what it says.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm just curious.
Just to see.
Yeah, because it is interesting. I mean, that's the other thing on the forum. There were several people that came on and said, "I just got a negative feedback from a person who bought an item and didn't say anything to me, didn't want a refund, didn't want to return it. They just said they were unhappy." And that's the most frustrating thing. I think 90% of the neutral or negative feedback comes from people like that.
Grumpy.
Where you're like, well, if you don't like it, then why do you want to keep it?
Just send it back or tell me it's broken. I had someone leave a neutral where they were like, this item was broken. And you're like, yeah, it's insured. And if you had contacted me and sent me photos, we would have figured it out. But they just were pissed.
Or it just seemed like, why don't you just want your money back?
If it were me, I'd be like, I want my money back.
Give a negative feedback, but also try to get your... money
It's
back.
bizarre.
That's why we just call them grumpy people.
Yeah, it's weird.
And I just want to give an update. We've been selling furniture for a while now on eBay, and we've always been making people, we say, it's local pickup only.
Right.
So we don't want to deal with how it's going to get to
whether it's a shipper
houses.
Or someone drives here or whatever.
So we put its responsibility on the person that buys it to figure out how to get it to their house. And that means that things sell slowly because you have to either find someone who's willing to drive to our house and pick it up, and we live kind of far away from places, or they know how to get a shipper to pick it up. Yeah. So we started doing this experiment where we just built in a shipping cost into the price, and then we say free shipping on big pieces of furniture. And we sold a piece a week ago.
It was a wardrobe that came with our farmhouse rental. It was in a shed.
We listed it.
Yeah.
It sold almost immediately.
Yeah.
And we sold it for $750 with the idea that we would ship it to the person for free. We live in Virginia. They live in Long Island.
Yeah.
So this was an experiment because we're like, how much could it really be? We don't really know. Let's just see.
Let's just try.
So
we didn't pay anything for the piece of furniture.
Yeah.
So.
I reached out to some shippers that we had been told about, and none of them were interested. I put it on UShip.
As like an auction or whatever it is called.
And this site's been good. Like, that community has gotten more evolved. So there are people out there. But we only got 2 bids.
Yeah.
And the best bid was $350.
So it's half of our profit.
And that's just to go. I was even thinking about if I can't make this happen, I could drive it up there. It would take me a day to drive up.
Right.
A day back. But what this guy was telling me was Long Island's it's a unique place because you have to go through tolls
to get over there, yeah,
and all the traffic because you got to go through to
New York traffic,
Long Island, so
New Jersey traffic.
Yeah, I was like, man, I was expecting like $150.
I wasn't expecting $150, but I was expecting like $2 something, not like almost 400.
But the guy's nice. He's going to come in a week,
and they're based in Long Island. Right. This shipper, so they're like, we know the ins and outs.
I also thought it was going to be, I'd find someone that was going to make a, they have a truck and they're coming from Florida and they're just picking up stuff along the way, picking up and dropping off, and they drive all the way up to the East Coast. This guy, it sounds like he's coming specifically here to pick up our furniture and drive it back.
How can that be? He's going to drive from Long Island to us and then back?
I don't know.
My thought is they're going to be down here. We'll find out because he's going to pick it up from us at our other house this week. And I mean, we're going to ask him, like, what's the deal? Were you down here to pick other stuff up? Or, like, how does that work?
I also want to ask, like, well, what if we'd sold it to someone in Seattle? Like, is it even more expensive to ship it to Seattle, or is it actually not that much more because it's like easy?
Someone's already going that way. Yeah.
I don't know.
So those are things we're learning. I listed 2 pieces of furniture that we're replacing at one of our rentals. Like, we're upgrading some furniture over there, and I put super high prices. I was like
$2,300 or something.
One of the pieces, it's a love seat. And it's super real vintage Danish modern. I was like $2,600, no make offer. If you want this
free shipping,
yep, then you're paying me that much.
Yeah,
because I'm just like,
I mean, and I know some people say, well, you should learn about freight, and that's where like
you actually,
we have to learn to like crate things or put things on a pallet and tie it down, and then you take it to a freight company, and maybe that'd be cheaper. Yeah. I like this idea of people just
it's like white glove.
White glove. Like, I just want you to come and pick it up from me,
and then
you take it,
and then I pay you.
We're just learning how much we need to actually build into the price.
I was looking up some other people who sell furniture, and I was seeing how much they charge for flat rate freight, and some people are just like, this is how much this chair costs, and flat rate freight is $350. That's it. Like, that's what you're paying. So that's kind of interesting. But then I'm like, but why don't I just throw an extra $300 on the price, 300 plus whatever,
say free shipping,
and then be like free shipping, so that the person's like, fine,
right?
So I don't know.
But that's what people talk about clothes. Why not just put a price on the clothes?
Furniture's different.
I just find like, I would love it if we could do it where the price would change based on where you are. I mean,
the price of the item. Like, yeah, right.
No, but I mean. No. Is there calculated freight shipping where, like, if someone buys a piece of furniture for $500,
right,
and then there's calculated, so it's going to be cheaper if they're just a state away versus if they're California? Right. Like, that's my question.
I have no idea.
Okay,
I don't know.
We need to find out.
I don't know how you would. Like, does eBay have a calculator where you're like, if you're in the Midwest, it's X amount?
Okay, so let's think about this. When we list an item, and we choose the shipping stuff.
Right. So what you're doing,
there's not like calculated freight as one of the options, is there?
It's just flat rate. It's literally called flat rate freight.
Flat rate freight. So there is no calculated.
No, because freight is like a generic term. So you're either going to use like Greyhound or FedEx or you ship random dude.
But isn't freight going to change based on where people live? I guess they just haven't built that calculator.
They haven't built that.
Okay.
Because
eBay.
Every shipper is different.
Yep. See, I want eBay to do everything I want them to do.
You know what eBay should do? This is what eBay should do. Let's all huddle. Let's all huddle for a second. You know how eBay has global shipping program, which some people love and some people absolutely hate it.
I like where this is going.
What if eBay coordinated large freight items for you? If you were just like, you know what I'm saying? Like their own uship.
Yeah, I just think that, no.
They're like, no, just use uship.com.
I just think that that business model, I mean,
they're like,
so
few people want to buy big things on eBay. Is that true, though? I don't know.
Yeah.
eBay, are you listening?
Yeah, I don't know. Anyway, so that's, we will keep you updated. And the way it works is thank God the buyer who bought this is super nice and cool.
Oh, he was great.
He's like the nicest guy. And we have been keeping him up to date. The great thing about offering it free to ship it is the buyer doesn't have any real power.
Oh, to say I need it on Monday. And you're like,
so
nope.
I'm just like, I told him, this guy's got contacted. He's going to come in a week. He then says it will take him 3 days. He will contact you directly to figure it out.
Right.
And you guys can work out if he just brings it inside the house or not,
Yeah, like that's the great thing.
We're promising it gets to your front door. Then it's up to you to figure out how to get it.
And talk to the shipper to...
Yeah. So far, so good.
Yeah, so it's good.
Okay, let's talk about our actual week in numbers. We sold 49 items.
Yeah.
Which is pretty good. So that's, almost 10 items a day.
For $1,600, that's a great week. I don't know why we were like, it's so slow. Well, I know there were some ups and downs in the week, but overall... That's
pretty
a great week.
Good. I'm glad you feel good.
I mean, our highest price item. There's this one day where 2 things in a row sold for over $100, and I was like, okay, I feel a little better now.
I guess, but then we were having those days where it's just like $10,
like 2 things sold,
$12.
I know it's weird.
$4.24.
But what do you always say to people who are crying? You're like, average it out.
Yep.
Because in our second store, also, okay, so we sold 11 items in our second store. For $360.
Yep.
That's a great week in our second store.
$362.89.
That's crazy.
Ryan, if something
Stop
sells...
crying, Jay.
If something sells for $4.24, what item is that?
$4.24? It's nail polish. Because that's our lowest
It's one
price
of our...
item.
We have like 600 bottles of nail polish that we bought for $0.25 a piece or something.
Yeah.
And we sell them for $4.24. And they sell... all
the
times a week, and so it's just like
lowest priced item. But you know what?
Yeah.
Look, there was one woman at the beginning who bought a box of, I think it was a box of 10 or 15 or something. It was a large lot because she had a nail studio, a nails studio. And she paid $250 for that because that was when I had like the prices really high and stuff. So that almost paid for...
It was like 50 bottles, not 10
Was
bottles.
it 50 bottles? Well,
yeah, it would have been $10.
No, 50 bottles. Yeah.
It was like a large...
It was a large lot of like someone who... Yeah, okay.
And we've just learned like there aren't very many people like that. It's just one at a
But
time.
that basically paid for almost all the inventory. So that made me feel better about selling $4 bottles.
So some things we sold this week. Number one... We sold... I'm going to tell the story real quick, and then I'll let you because I'll do the non-emotional. Yes. So we were in Brooklyn 4 years ago.
I want to say it was even longer ago, but okay.
At least 4 years. Park Slope.
Yep.
It was a stoop sale. It was in the summertime. And we found a pair of shoes. It was a Ferragamo snakeskin shoes, and they were green. They're really gorgeous. We bought them.
They're turquoise.
Turquoise. We bought them for $20.
They were $15. I remember.
And we just assume, like, this is a home run. Like, we're going to make $400 on this, no problem. We listed them for that high, and we just, like, brought the price down. We just, like, we cannot get rid. No one's giving us offers.
No one's like, even asked us a single question.
No action. And then they sell it this week for $110. I mean, we made a profit. It's all good. It's just one of those things. It was, like, one of those items where, like, what is wrong with these things, you know?
Look, like... They're a small size, relatively small, size 7. They were a narrow. But I sell Ferragamos that are size 5.5 narrow. You know, like I'm like, okay, they do sell. Gorgeous color, real snakeskin, high-end brand. Could not sell these to save my life. And it's funny because we would bring the price down and then we were like, let's not bring it down, so let's bring it up. Let's bring the price up so people think they're worth more. Could not sell them. And finally, they just sold this week. And I remember looking at the phone being like, finally.
Yep.
For $110.
Yep.
So,
they're a beautiful pair of shoes.
Yeah, so.
All right, go for this next one.
So, yesterday was a lovely day of sitting on the couch by a wood stove while it was raining, listing stuff on eBay. I think it was exactly 100 scheduled listings from you and our helper that needed to get listed. So one of the first things I listed was a vintage denim jacket, but it was kind of like a shirt. It was like a work shirt / lightweight denim jacket. And the little brass buttons on it said highball. I couldn't find anything. It didn't have a label. I couldn't find anything vintage highball, denim, nothing on them. And I listed it for $60, and it sold within 5 minutes. So, you know...
And I mean, of course, the first thing is like, oh,
did I just sell a $500 jacket for $60?
But then I went and did a research on it, and I didn't find a single thing with highball. And it sold to someone in LA. I just think, I don't know. I mean, it's one of those things where, like, we got to be happy it's with it, but it's just, I just think it's a cool look, and someone happened to have it in their search for, like, you know, he's like, oh, I really want a cool denim jacket. I'll put out a search for it. Ours popped up.
I like that one. I want it, you know?
And he bought it.
So I will say this, though. Within the same actual moment that sold, we got an offer come in on another jacket that was like 4 years old. So I'm like, I don't know if my jackets are just popping up in eBay and people are buying them right this minute, and that's what's happening. So that kind of made me feel a little bit better. We sold, so this is one of my favorite sales of all time. We bought these IKEA shelves. We've bought them for both houses, these IKEA bookshelves. They're the LACK, L-A-C-K, black bookshelves. We really like them, and they come with extra brackets. I had 4 of them. They give you 2 extra per shelf. So originally I had 4 of them. I put them on eBay for like $13, $15, sold out of them. Because if you buy it on Craigslist, you buy them used, a lot of people forget to give you the brackets. So someone actually even said that to me. They're like, I bought this on Craigslist, but I can't put it on my wall because it'll fall over without the brackets. I'm like, that's exactly why I'm selling them. So we put 2 of these shelves in the new house. So I just sold 2 of the brackets for, I think it was almost $30. So the shelves themselves, I think, are $75 each. So I just kind of recouped some of my costs on the shelves just by selling these little metal brackets that were extra. And so if you have extra IKEA hardware from like random pieces of furniture, you can sell that stuff because people buy it on Craigslist and they're like, oh my God, I'm missing this, you know, set of brackets and screws, and, you know, eBay doesn't, or IKEA doesn't make this thing anymore, and people are looking for it. So I think that that's a good thing to sell that feels like junk, but isn't.
I'm just like, where could we just get like weird, you know, like, is there a place where you can just buy a box of weird IKEA parts that nobody wants, like, now to sell this?
The key is you have to have the model name.
Right.
You know, so you can't just be like, here's a random box. It's like you need to know what it goes to.
Right.
That's the key. So that's what helps the most, I think.
But that's what would be fun, is trying to figure out what those are. So, like, could you buy, like, a big box of, like, you know, a big, like, crate
of pallet, like, random stuff.
Yep.
As long as it had I would love that.
Yep.
It definitely, people sell IKEA stuff on eBay for sure. And I buy it a lot of times.
And then the last thing we just wanted to mention, I think we all enjoy selling things to like, it's when like a stylist will buy something from you, or someone from like a movie studio or a TV
like
show.
a prop house.
Yeah, like they see something that you found and they think it's so cool. So we had actually Tyler Perry's studio
down in Atlanta
buy a $10 old fire detector. It's just like a metal fire detector we found that doesn't work.
Yeah, it's a smoke detector. And
where there's smoke, there's fire, right?
That's true. It was not plastic, like you said. It's this like metal mesh looking thing that kind of looks like it's from the army or something. It looked cool. It was like olive green. And I even said in the listing, like we put a battery in it and it made a beeping noise, but we suggest that you only use this as a prop. And so a prop house found it. So
but it's just a good example of like there is a market out there for things that are not usable.
Yeah, they're props,
that help, especially these days when so many TV shows and movies are now like, trying to be 80s or 90s. They're trying to, be
70s,
from a certain era.
Exactly.
Yeah. Like, it's so hard to watch TV shows with Ryan now because
I know, I'm so annoying.
She's like, oh, I bet they got that from eBay. Oh, hey, look at that thing. Oh, look at that. Oh, look at that tablecloth. All that stuff is from eBay.
We watched Fargo, that TV show Fargo last night. And actually this season is from, it's based in 2010, but they're in the Midwest in Minnesota or wherever. And they show this table, and she's got this like total Pyrex 1970s like butter dish. I'm like, oh yeah, I know that pattern. Like, it's so annoying, yeah. But I'm like, where else would you get that stuff?
Scavenger of the week. Mine would be I found a box of silverware of Oneida flatware. So it looked like someone had a wedding, was given a gift of the stuff, and someone put it in a closet. They lived an entire lifetime. They died. The grandkids took all the stuff out of the closet and took it to the thrift store and put it on the shelf where I then bought it. And it was like unused. And it's not a particularly like crazy pattern. It's just untouched. And I think that's just the thing I love about it.
Well, it's untouched in the original box from the early 70s. Right. You're like, nobody used this. Yeah. It looks brand new. It's like, I love the packaging. You're just like, it has like the original like reorder form in there, and you're like, this is beautiful. So that, like, I legitimately started freaking out. Like, I looked at the box. This box is so cool. Oh my God, it's never been used. It's a complete set. You're just like, okay. Yeah. He's like, it's so cool. Wait, there was another scavenge of the week. At the exact same thrift store, at the exact same time, I found a chair. Beautiful mid-century. Well, we found it together.
We pulled into the parking lot, and they were just unloading a truck of just a bunch of stuff that they'd picked up somewhere.
Yeah, furniture and stuff.
And one of these was like this cool, 60s? I don't know. Like,
I would say 60s, because it's like late 60s. It's like, remember on Mad Men when it started to become the late 60s, early 70s, and everything was brown and orange, and you were like, oh God.
And avocado green. But it's just like this cool,
that's the kind of
floral
chair.
Pattern, this beautiful chair. And we bought it right off the truck for $15. And I shoved it right in the car.
It fit in our car.
Yep.
The guy was like, you're going to have to come back. We were like, nuh-uh. We're putting it in our hatchback, and we did.
This car is a truck.
Yeah, so that was my scavenge of the week, is that chair. It's beautiful.
So customer issues, we kind of talked about it. We had some returns, but it's no real issues. Things we learned in the forum, we talked about it. It was really a busy week, to be honest.
A busy forum week, yes. Which is great. We love that.
Love when there are smart people who are helping each other out.
Well, what I love the most too is even when people direct questions right at me, like they put my name in it, I'll go and I'll be like, oh, like 3 people already answered them.
Right.
Way better than I could have, way faster than I could have. Yeah. So I love that so much.
Okay, let's go ahead and answer the calls that people called in with.
You can always call the voicemail line at any time of day or night. The phone number is 540-407-8486, and you have 3 minutes to leave a message.
Hey, Jay and Ryan, this is Len with the Potter's Picker. So I have a scavenger's confession that I'm kind of ashamed of, and it really doesn't have to do with picking, but when I go to friends' houses, especially the first time, I tend to, in my mind, do like an assessment of the value of everything they own, every knick-knack, every piece of furniture, like, and especially if they both, like, they got a good deal and I know they overpaid for it. In my mind, I kind of want to, tell them that, they didn't get as good a deal as they thought. And sometimes I even judge them in my mind on the basis of the things that they own, if it's like really good stuff or if it's junk. So that is my confession. I am ashamed. Please forgive me.
Yep, you're not alone. It's not so much that I'm like looking at people's stuff and like valuing it, like that would be that much, but I'm like, ooh, I would definitely sell that on eBay. That's what I'm thinking.
Well, we definitely talked to each other afterwards where we're like, I can't believe they paid retail for that.
Oh, for whatever it is.
Imagine buying a couch from West Elm for full price.
Retail.
Like, oh my God, that'd be crazy.
That's like 3 mortgage payments.
Something I do that I think always Ryan thinks is weird. So I'm a very casual kind of guy.
Bordering on hobo.
Comfortable and casual. I just like wearing what I wear.
Yeah.
When I see people that have nice clothes on,
yeah,
I will comment on it, men or women, and I'm very specific because, I know
we sell
brands
clothes, yeah,
and styles. I know how much things cost, and I think it takes people by a surprise when I talk about the specific brands of shoes they have, and I'll even ask them how much it costs because,
Yeah, you're like where'd you get those?
And people actually like to talk about it. I just think I think people get a surprise because I don't look like someone that would know that, and they don't know why I know those.
Well,
things,
the other thing too is a lot of times it's people who don't know we sell on eBay, so they're like, or they don't understand how we sell on eBay. Like your brother-in-law had these like great leather wingtips on one time because we went to like First Communion or whatever. And we were like, ooh, those are great. Where did you get those? And he was just like, why are you, what?
They don't know if I'm making fun of them. We're like, oh, we sell on
eBay. I mean, we told him, we're like, we sell, shoes like that on eBay all the time. But yeah, people are like, what? How did you know these were Ferragamos?
But see, I go by the thing where I think these days, I think the super rich people dress like bums. And I think that's my thing is like people actually think I'm super rich because I dress like kind of hobo-ish.
Maybe.
So rich you don't have to care.
Exactly.
Hey guys, this is John in Boise. I'm a seller here for a few years and feel like I know eBay fairly well. I came across something that was puzzling me the other day and I finally figured it out and wondering if you'd noticed this and just thought I would point this out for others. And that is that eBay searches are case sensitive. I was searching for an Onkyo model number M-282 and was getting no results, and then there was listings below that showing exactly what I was looking for. Could not figure out why that wasn't coming up when I searched it. Finally, capitalized the M before the dash, and sure enough, I get results. And then furthermore, when I capitalized Onkyo, it also as well added more results. So when you are listing things and putting a title in for those that list in all capital letters, it is doing you no favors because I doubt people are doing searches in all capital letters. I have no idea why eBay would be doing this. I'm not sure what the benefit of having case-sensitive searches is. Can only think that it hurts their searches and gives people less results who are trying to buy something. But just wondering if anybody else has run into this. I've done a number of searches before and seen results below for what I had just typed out where it was saying there was no results and couldn't figure out what was going on. So just a heads up. And wondering if you can think of any reasons why that is a benefit. Thanks for the great show. Talk to you later.
Well, that's something, we did like a lot of people where we would capitalize a certain words in our titles.
To emphasize.
Like, because if you have like 10 words, we would emphasize certain words. we stopped doing that a couple of years ago, or at least I did when I write titles. I just do although I do capitalize the first letter of every word.
Right.
I always think it's weird. It's when I see titles and people just do not care, and they're like, capital, no capital. It's just like it looks...
Like if I make a typo on a title and one word's not capitalized, Jay's like, that's sloppy. I'm like, what? Okay.
I did not know that eBay would do that. That's very strange.
Well, but what's weird is, I will say this. I will search for things all the time, looking for prices or for shopping or whatever. And I will not capitalize anything in my search because I'm a lazy typist. I'm just like, blah, 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 blah. And stuff still comes up fine. So I don't know if it's case sensitive for a model number like you were saying. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I think it would be insane for eBay to have a case sensitive search.
If you were to be interested in exploring this, it's with us. Come on our forums and start a thread. And give us some of these search terms.
Because I couldn't actually understand what brand you were talking about. I thought you said Casio at first, but I don't think that's what you were saying.
Hand us some search terms where we can search with capitals and without capitals. And then I wonder, does it matter if you capitalize the first letter of the word versus not? I mean,
or is it just in a model number? Like, it seems very specific and weird and would be crazy, like you said.
Hey, Jay and Ryan. I don't have a road burger story for you, but I got another one. A couple of years ago, I was at an auction, and there was this item laying on a table, and I was looking at it. It was about 4.5 feet long. It was like there were two pieces and a case that it went into, and there was also this handle, and it looked like a huge comb. I didn't know what it was exactly, but there was a Post-it note on it that said that it was an automatic knitting machine. You can look them up on YouTube if you want to see what this thing looks like, but it's for manufacturing textiles. This thing looked like it was from the 60s, and the auction got to that item. Nobody wanted this thing, so I bought it for $5. I saw some on eBay that worked that sold for $100. So I took it home, took my photographs, created my listing. Then I had to box this thing up, and boy, was that a pain. It's big, it's heavy, and it's fragile because it has these tines that stick out like a big comb would have, and so I had to wrap it in plastic, and I put styrofoam in there, made a big box to put it in. I took it to my storage facility, and nobody bid on it, or I had it for I'll buy it now, but nobody commented or asked questions about it or bought it for like 6 or 8 months, and finally somebody sent me a note and asked me how long one of the pieces was. I wasn't sure whether they were just screwing with me or not, but I went and measured the thing, updated my listing, let them know. They didn't buy it, but a week or two later, somebody offered me $25 for it, and I said yes. I had listed it for $75, and then at some point I lowered it to $50, but I was glad to get rid of the thing. So I guess my story is don't buy large, heavy, fragile items unless you can take them apart and sell them as parts, or you can get an awful lot of money for them, because, boy, was that a pain in the butt. Thanks.
Yeah, because I don't have to pack, or I just don't pack. I guess I don't have to. I don't pack. I'm the one that's always buying these weird... I'm like, that's a great deal. Let's get it. And I don't think about how hard it's going to pack.
And I'm like, you gotta be joking me.
You're always a good sport, because I mean, I'll often say,
depends on what it is.
Are you willing to ship this?
Yeah.
And you get excited about things. You're like, hey,
there are some times where I'm like, no.
Right. I mean, that's why we stopped selling typewriters and,
And like, honestly, kitchen mixers, I'm like, those things are so heavy.
Yeah, I mean, we have to, these days, for something to be big, it has to sell for at least over $100.
Yeah,
we have to know, guaranteed it's going to sell over $100 to spend the time to pack it.
I mean, but then there's me, like, buying furniture, so... Yeah. Although I don't have to pack that in this case. But yes, I agree with you. If you can't part it out and you're not willing to pack it and ship it, do not buy it.
Yeah. Especially $25. No way.
Yeah, that's rough.
Because he still had to end up packing that, right? For $25.
He sold it for $25 and he packed it and shipped it.
Well, you know what? Like we always say, those are the things where just remember every moment of that, because it will teach you the pain. So when you look at something in a thrift store, it's like Pavlov's dog, that pain will come back and you'll be like, I am not buying that.
Like the entire table full of very heavy books that Jay bought.
Yep.
Which he also does not have to ship or look for when they sell.
Books are easy to pack though, right?
Yeah, they're easy to pack, but they're like in stacks, in bags, in lot numbers. I'm like, this is horrifying.
Just to be clear though, you do like it when I find things and they sell for a lot of money.
That's true.
So it's not all horror stories.
No, not always. Okay, that is it for the podcast this week. You can check out our blog at scavengerlife.com for the links we discuss and to join the conversation on the forum. You can leave a question or a comment on our voicemail line. That phone number again is 540-407-8486. We post an episode every Monday morning. On Wednesday, we post a What Sells video to show what sold and how much it sold for, currently being brought to you by Steven Schultz. You can subscribe to us through iTunes or YouTube, so you always get the latest episode. You can listen to our other podcast, shampooandbooze.com, where we talk about our vacation rental business in depth. And this podcast is ending in 3, 2, 1.
Goodbye.